So yesterday we have seen creating Nginx container and Jenkins container and accessing it via the port 80, right? Today we'll try to build a base image. On top of that, customize some of the packages, install some of the packages, change some of the configurations, and then we create our own image, and then we'll try to push that image to Docker Hub. Okay, so we pull the image first. So using Docker pull, I'll take Ubuntu as a base image. Then we create a container out of the image using Docker run. This will create a container. When container is created, then we log into the container. Yeah, by default it will be we log into the container, will be attached. Then we can perform some customization, right? Like installing the packages, configuring the application. So we install Python, Ruby, install HTTP Apache 2. These are the packages we install. So base image will not have all these things. We are installing on top of the container. Right now container has all these things. So now new layers will be created on top of the existing layer. Right. So for every installation there will be a new layer created. It will not touch the existing layers. So they will be read only. On top of that it creates the new layers. Right. Then we need to give this image to the customer or someone else, right? So how do we give the image? This is the container now. Now container has to be image. Container has to be converted into image. Or we can say generate image from container, right? So once we generate the image from the container.
Santosh, can we generate image from running container or stopped container?
We need to stop it.
Okay.
We come out of the container, then we generate the image. So by default, when we come out, it will be stopped automatically, right?
Is it an image like image that can be used to deploy as a VM, or is it an image that can be used to deploy an application?
So this is the image. Once we get the image from someone, and then when we create a container out of it, this has the base image of Ubuntu. This has the base OS. Then it has all these applications, packages, customizations, configurations available.
So the image can be used as if somebody gets that image, they can basically use that image to deploy a new VM with all the specifications, right?
Not VM actually, container. Yes, it
container.
Can deploy as a container.
Okay, he's gonna use okay. It's basically creating a container from to a new place, right? It's a moving container, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay, but is that going to be remain in the container? It's going to be in the production also?
Yes, this can be pushed to production also.
Okay, production containers. Okay.
So we generate the image from the container. We push the image to Cloud Hub. Docker Hub. This is the Docker Cloud.
Santosh, I have a question. If you push this, if you move this container or image to another place and push it to the production, how the network configuration is going to update automatically, or?
Yeah, that will be taken care automatically. When the Docker engine, which is installed on that machine, Docker host, is going to create a container, it will automatically assign the default IP, which is 172.17.0. something. Right, we push the image to Docker Hub, Then again, we'll try to check whether this application is configured successfully or all the packages which we installed successfully. So we'll download the image again, different name, the new image, and then we'll create a container out of it and check all packages are present. By default, there will be nothing in the base image, but once we do all these things, just by creating the container, we'll be able to get everything, right? So let us try that. So this is my Docker host. Then I have the images. So I'll create a new container. So I'll just say Docker run -i -t Ubuntu, and I'll name it as Ubuntu 1. Okay, something is wrong with the syntax. So I'm inside the container. So this is Ubuntu container. Okay. Now let me see if it has Python. Python command is not there, so it doesn't have the Python. Or we can see if it has Ruby. It's not there. Or we can see if it has Apache 2 web server. So it doesn't have anything. So what we'll do is we'll try to install all these things. Apt-get update. Okay. Then we'll install Python. Okay. Then we'll install Ruby. We'll install Apache 2.
Santosh, what was the command to get into the container? Is it Docker SSH or name of the container?
Docker run -i -t.
Okay.
So that will attach to container, right?
Okay.
Okay, so once everything is done, we'll exit from the container. Okay. Now the container is stopped. Now if I see Docker images or Docker ps-a, so there are a lot of containers. So out of which this is the one which we created. The name is Ubuntu 1, right? So this is a container, and from this we need to create the image. This is the container ID. From the container ID we need to create the image which is customized, and then we'll upload this to the Docker hub. Okay, so there is a command to
Santosh, you installed all software, right? Python, Ruby, Apache.
yeah.
You did not configure web server, right?
Yeah, I didn't configure. So I mean, this is just to make sure if by default, if the base image doesn't have anything, right? So we'll just upload it to the Docker Cloud and download it and see whether Python will be installed by default or not.
Oh.
So this command will create a new image from the container. Okay. So Docker commit, I'll say Ubuntu custom image, and this is the author ID, and this is the container ID. From which we want to generate the image, and then this is the username, and this is the path where it will generate the image in the cloud, and this is the tag with which version it will generate. So I'll again say custom image :version 1. Okay. Okay, so this should have generated an image. If I see Docker images, I have a new image called this custom image with version 1. Okay, and it has got its own image ID, and it is created 5 seconds ago. And what is the size? 300 MB. Okay, so by default it will be around 120 MB, but once we have installed all these packages, the size has increased to 300 MB, right? Now let us push this image to Docker hub. So we need to log in first. Provide the username and the password which we used while signing up, right? The same username and the password. Once this is done, we can push the image to Docker hub. So these all are my images, right? So which I pushed. So there is nothing like Ubuntu custom image, right? So these are the images. So we'll try to push a new image to this repository, right? So again, there is a command docker push.
So this Santosh DevOps, this is your repository, right? This is,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so every user will have a specific login, and so in the home page it will shows the images which we pushed to the Docker Hub. Anybody can push the images to Docker Hub, and they can provide the link so that anybody can download. Right. So Docker push and the username / and the image name Ubuntu custom image and the version of the image we want to push. So I tagged it as V1. So we'll try to download this image. So before that, let me remove the image already present. Sorry, Docker images. So I'll remove this image RMI and the image ID. So there is nothing currently on the machine with Ubuntu custom image. So now whatever we download, it is from the Cloud Hub, not from the local, right? So without remove it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me again create it. So we need to push it, then we need to remove from the local, then we need to download. Okay, so this should have created a new image, and now let me push this image. What is the tag? V1 custom image, not Ubuntu. Okay, so this will push to repository. Once it is pushed, we'll remove from locally, we'll download again, and we'll create a container out of the image.
Okay. Can you go to this the command to create the image, the syntax? This is Docker commit, and then M stands for is module.
M is the image, the
Name?
image which it will be created. Yes.
Okay, well, this is the name is Ubuntu custom image. The one we are pushing is custom image on it.
So I actually copied from here and changed it. All these things.
Oh, okay,
So it
okay.
is actually custom image.
Okay, and A is user. No.
Yeah, user ID or username.
And
Author name, actually,
that
author name.
author. Okay, so this is user is your Docker Hub user, right?
Yeah, this is my Docker Hub user.
And this is a password to get into the Docker Hub.
No, this is container
Yeah.
ID.
Container ID. Okay, so we don't have to mention anything like container ID, just container ID there, right?
Yeah, right.
And then repository, which is Santosh Dev, is a repository, and the image name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it is pushed now. Let us see if it gets reflected here. See, custom image is created. Now if I go inside this, See, there is a description. This is how we pull the image, and there will be a tag associated with it, version 1. Okay. Last updated a minute ago. Compressed size is 130 MB. Okay. So first we'll remove the image from locally. So the image is removed. If I say Docker images, there is nothing. Now we'll try to pull the same command given here from Docker Cloud. So this will pull the image. Okay, I need to give the version. And
It's going to access the Docker Cloud on port 80. So port 80 outbound should be open, right?
sorry.
Is our machine going to access the Docker Cloud on port 80? Probably.
I think it will be using FTP or ECP.
Okay. But the ports need to be open to all those public clouds, right? Like Docker.
Yeah. Yes.
Outbound port. Okay.
Right.
Which is most of the cases in the banks, it's not open. Like it's like you can't even directly download the images from the GitHub even.
Okay. Then I think we need to open. Or if that is the case, then we need to manually transfer the image from one machine to other machine, or we should have our own internal cloud in the intranet.
Okay.
Right. So we got the image. Now we'll create the container out of this image. So I'll say Docker run -i-t and the image ID. So a container is created. So by default, it should have Python, it should have Ruby, and it should also have Apache 2. See, earlier when you say Python, it says command not found. Now I'm inside the Python prompt, right?
So did you give the run -int and then the complete path of the image, like Docker dot?
Yeah, just the path.
Okay.
This whatever I think it works with this also. Simply if I give this path also, it works. Like how we said Docker run Ubuntu, it works, right? In the same way it works if I give this also.
But this Santosh DevOps, this is your repository on the Docker Hub, right?
Yeah. This is the username on the Docker Hub. This is how I stored actually on the Docker Hub.
Oh, so you're accessing your container on the Docker Hub?
Not container. I downloaded the image to local machine.
Yeah. Yes.
That is a customized image. From that, I created a container.
Okay. So the container name is the same. Just okay.
Yeah. Now, if I say, let us see if I have Ruby packages. Ruby packages are present, or I can also see if I have Apache packages, right? So we customized it. So we got everything, whatever we did for that image, right? So that image we used to customized image and we created container out of it. That container has all the customizations which we did, right? So here I just used only three packages, right? But in real time, there might be some hundreds of configurations which we have to do, right? So there is application and there are a lot of configurations and there are a lot of packages we need to install then application needs to be configured, some configuration files have to be modified, right? So every time performing this, something like pulling the image, pulling the base image, creating the container, customizing it, and again generating the image. For every modification, we have to follow entire procedure, right? So this is all kind of a manual way, right? So this can be automated using Dockerfile. So there is something called Dockerfile. So this is like if I write something in the Docker file, that will be automatically done, right? So something like first step is I took a base image. So here I'll take from Ubuntu, right? So this will get the base image from the Docker cloud. Then I can run the commands. So there are some keywords which Dockerfile uses. Using these keywords, we can automate the entire procedure, whatever we have done. Okay. So run apt-get update, run apt-get -y install Python, run apt-get -y install Ruby, run apt-get -y install Apache 2. Then whatever the commands we want to execute, that we can use this file to do it automatically. Now we don't have to do all this manually. We put everything inside a Docker file and then we use this Docker file to build the image. So this will automatically download everything and it will create the image. So we don't have to create a container first, then we have to log in, then we need to perform all these steps, then we need to upload. So that and all is automated using Dockerfile. So using Dockerfile, we can create, we can pull the image, we can do all customizations, and then we can get the build. So this is to build the customized image. Automated way of building customized image. Okay. Is this clear?
Yeah, I think any are people using Docker for the Windows also or no?
Yeah, people use Windows. For Windows also they use Docker.
Okay, so so let's say on the base is Linux, and in the Windows, and you have a container, Windows container kind of thing.
Yes, we can have that. It talks to the kernel. On top of Windows, we can have a Linux container. It works.
Okay. Okay. So let's say we can have application container, and that application container can be shipped and go to production same way, right?
Right. Yes. Okay. So these are some of the keywords, right? From run, CMD, or expose, or add. So there are a lot of keywords which we can use to automate the creation of Dockerfile. So let us say at one point of time, I want to expose a port, in the sense open a port. So there is something called expose 80. So this will expose the port 80. Right. So like that, let us say add. So I want to add a file from my host to the container. So this file will be copied to the container. Let us say something like s1.sh, right? Then if I say run 1.sh, so this 1.sh will be executed. Any shell script or any Python script or anything can be executed, right? So there are a lot of keywords, copy and all. So to copy a file from source to the Docker host to Docker container. So this is basically for automating the entire process of creating the build, right? So let us say create a directory, first one. Under that, I created Docker file. So this starts with capital D and Docker file. This is something like automation. We also created Jenkins file, right, to do automation. So maintaining the infrastructure as the code. So here we have code to build a image, right? So similar way we have Docker file, and in the Docker file we can customize. So these are some of the commands. So if you want to execute this particular thing as a user, we can use user keyword, and we can set the default directory. From is like the base image which it downloads for the first time, and maintainer is something like optional value, who is the maintainer of the image. Some environment variables we can set. So all these things are the some of the keywords which we can use. Right?
Santosh, what is the file path? This Docker file path.
It can be anywhere. It can be anywhere. Yeah. So what are the things it does? Dockerfile. We automated this entire thing, right? So basically, it downloads the base image, it customizes it, right? And then it creates a container out of the base image. It does all the customization. Then it creates the image out of the container, and it will remove the old container, right? So these are the things which it performs, right? These 4 steps it will perform automatically, so that we don't have to create the container, download the image manually, create the container, log into the container, perform all these steps, right? So whatever we have done, we'll try with the Dockerfile. So I created a directory, Dockerfile, then I'll try to run something. So from Ubuntu latest, this maintainer is optional, not required. Then run apt-get update and apt-get install -y Ruby. It installs Ruby. Then I can write whatever the command I want. Sorry. Will this work, this command?
I think maybe you have to type -y.
Yes, it will not work because without -y, it will wait for the user input. So since we are automating, everything has to be automated. So all the commands have to be executed without manual intervention, right? So here I need to give -y. Then run apt-get install Apache 2. Let's run service Apache 2.
This would be the just simple script file, right? Shell script file.
Yes, not exactly shell script, but a kind of shell script. We use some keywords that is already defined. Using that keyword.
Okay. So the word run is for Docker because of Docker. Docker recognize run. Okay.
Yes, yes. So Docker file, it has some specific keywords already defined, using which we write the script.
Okay. And what is this extension of the file? Is it the Docker or not?
Docker file. It's just
Docker file. Okay.
It's kind of answer file, right?
What is file?
It's answer file. It's kind
Ansible,
of
yeah.
Ansible. Ansible is YAML
answer.
file, right? Answer.
YAML.
No, it's not YAML, but it's a kind of see, Docker has its own syntax, so this doesn't work anywhere else. Only in Docker it works, right? So Docker build -t and the name of the image which you want to build. So let us say custom image 2209. Dot indicates that the Docker file is in the current directory. Okay. So this will run. So basically all those things which we have given in the script, it will execute and it will create a build out of the image.
So whatever we were doing inside the container, we are basically trying to automate that stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So we are not automating pull the Docker as well, right? That part we haven't done that, right?
Pull or push? You mean push?
I mean, pull the Ubuntu latest, create the
Yeah.
container. No.
The first thing it is doing, right, is pull only. The first step from Ubuntu latest. So it will pull the Ubuntu base image.
Okay. Okay. So it's basically we're pulling it and creating a container first and then running the commands, right?
Right. Right. Yes.
Okay. The one already exists. I think you have deleted that container, the one that we already have, right?
No, I didn't delete. Everything is there. So this will create a new image, new fresh image.
Okay. Remember we were discussing salt yesterday?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I found like a salt stack documents, and they have the complete like a Vagrant file sitting on the GitHub. What you have to do,
Okay.
just download that file and just do Vagrant up, which will bringing up your salt master and minions and all the configuration as it is. So they make it so simple. Just download that GitHub salt repository, and I think because they're a vendor, right? Salt stack, so that's why they are working and make it like easier for the public to use it.
Okay. But
So basically,
for the first time,
yeah.
it's better to do everything from scratch for the listing, right? Better understanding where are the master file, where is the
Yeah, I
minion.
tried those commands, but it was like keep failing, and it was not creating the salt image. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's better to just install yourself
Yeah.
manually once.
All. For the first time, and the next time onwards, you can do it that way.
Yeah, I think that there are too many repositories, and adding a new repository was creating a problem. I was trying to add new repository, and it's not
Because
working
it is
very
not
well.
required, right? So we just have to download an image and then we just have to download a script that will actually install salt, right? For salt.
Yeah, I think there was missing one of the paths were missing locally, something like that. So yeah, I think I'll try one more time just to do manually.
Okay. So this has created an image. This image, custom image 2209 from Docker file. So using Docker file, we have created a new image. Now, if I create a container out of this image, this will have all the customization, and it will have also Apache 2 running, right? So whatever we did in the Docker file, so that will be the customization will also be available in the container, like how we created the container just now, right? Is this clear?
So,
How to create
we already have the containers, right? And the custom image. Now this script is creating a new custom image within the same container or different
No,
container.
this is a new image created. So this
Okay.
is the other one we created manually. This is created in an automated way, right? Using
Okay.
Docker file. So it's
Okay.
same, both are same, whatever we did manually or
Okay.
whatever we did automated. But this is easy because if you have a lot of packages, let's say 100 packages are there and a
Yes.
lot of customizations are there, that we cannot do manually. That time we need
Okay.
Docker file to automate the things.
Even the name of the image is same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why it's confusing a little bit. That's okay.
Okay. So another important thing is creating cluster of Docker host. right? So this is not cluster of containers. This is cluster of Docker hosts, cluster of physical machines. Right? So let us say we have two machines, and on one machine, let us say is running with Linux.
Why physical? It can be virtual, right? It can be virtual.
It can be virtual for demonstration for practice, but the idea behind is if one machine goes down because of some disk error or CPU error or something, the other should automatically take the load, right? So high availability.
Okay.
If both are running on a single physical machine, if the physical machine goes down because of some problem, two VMs will go down and there is no high availability, right?
You can move. You can have one VM on one host, the other VM on the host.
Yeah, that's no. See again, if we are using Docker, we don't use VM ideally. Just for practice, we are using here. But what we do is on top of physical machine directly we install on top of OS we install Docker engine. So there is nothing else. So only Docker engine on top of the containers. There is no VM here. I mean, in reality, in practical, if you want to use Docker, right?
Okay.
So because of any issue or any hardware error, any hardware maintenance or any problem, if the machine goes down, the incoming web traffic should be handled by the other node, and also it should be able to scale up based on the load. If the load is high, we should be able to create multiple containers to take the load, right? So for that we have.
Yeah, Santosh, all those things can be handled by a virtual machine also. So this is like you can have load balancing and you can move the VMs. Even physical host down, you have other VM running on other host. So that pretty much can be done on the.
Yeah, how much time it takes to spin up a VM?
Yeah, a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, so this containers are basically easily manageable, easy to spin up, easy to destroy, easy to get a new VM. So and it's like microservices are deployed to this kind of containers. So microservice is something like self-contained application. So it can be easily deployable to a container, and I mean it has a own team which manages the this application, which is like a microservice. It doesn't depend on any other application. It's like a simple feature on which a team is working, and they deploy their own application into the microservice, right? Into the container.
Okay. Okay.
So to configure this Docker Swarm, we need to create a cluster between the two physical machines. So for now, we'll take two VMs, virtual machines. So this is one machine. My agent, and this is my this is server 2. Server 1. So on server 2, I don't have Docker, so I need to install Docker. So I'm trying to set up Docker Swarm onto independent machines. So the first step is install Docker engine on two machines, two or more machines. We can have any number of machines. Okay. Then we need to create a cluster between two machines. So here, one machine is called manager node. The other is machine called worker node. So there are some commands to configure it. We need to execute something on the manager, and then we need to execute one more command on the worker that will create the communication between the manager node and the worker node, right? So let us say if I have one manager node and I have worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, 4 nodes. These all are 4 nodes. So we have to execute the commands on the manager to create the container. So manager will internally take care of checking the hardware resources, CPU resources, memory resources. So we don't have to tell like create a container on this node. Manager will automatically create the container based on the load, right? And if any of the worker node goes down, so these are our physical machines. If worker 3 has some disk error and it has gone down, the containers running on this machine will be automatically moved to other nodes. So manager does the job, right? And let us say I want to
Santosh,
increase.
I have a question. Manager node, does it host any containers? Only just it manages the nodes.
It also has containers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I mean, what happens if manager goes down? So there is also a way to automatically worker 1 or worker 2, any of the one node becoming manager, or manually we can make one of the node as the manager, right? So manager is the one is basically we interact with. So we just ask manager to create 10 containers for me. So he'll internally take care of creating. Let us say he creates 2 containers on this, 3 containers on this, 3 containers like that. Based on the load he'll create. And if any of the node goes down, a manager will take care to move the containers running on one node to all other nodes equally. So he distributes the load. And if any, let us say the incoming web traffic, so routing it to different containers and all that stuff, manager will take care. So there are containers which are also running on the manager, and we can also scale up based on the load, right? So there is something called Docker service command. So using Docker service command, we can scale up to n number of containers, right? This we'll see tomorrow. So we need to have 2 machines. On one machine, on 2 machines, we need to install Docker Engine. Then we create a cluster out of these 2 machines, and then we make one of the machine as the manager, the other machine as the worker. I think I need to have one more machine to show how the containers are moved between the different machines. In case if one of the machine goes down, we'll manually shut down one of the VM and see how the containers will move from one machine to other machine. And we'll install some application, some dummy application, something like Nginx server on the container. So we'll use this image to create the multiple containers, and we can access any of the node that will be accessible. And if we bring down one of the node, the traffic should be redirected to other node, right? We'll see this tomorrow. This takes a little time, so we'll do that tomorrow. Any questions? So today we have seen customization using the Docker file to create the Docker build, do the customization using some keywords, a manual way of creating a build from a container, and using Docker file to automate it. Okay.
Yeah, can you copy all those commands to the notepad? Because so I can practice right now.
Okay. We'll stop here. You meet tomorrow.
Give me 1 second to let me copy it. Give me 1 second.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.